I'm grateful to be working with the WDVA, and I think it's a great service that's being offered to veterans right now. You know, I mean, it's like there's a lot of internal conflict that happens with veterans because there's the aspect of PTSD that is very dominant oftentimes is trying to get away from it, you know, is trying to avoid it, trying to have some way of escaping. And so I think that's the hardest part to overcome because it really means facing the demons in ways that most people really would prefer not to because they've already been there and done that. It's a total normal experience to have emotions that are difficult when we have traumatic experiences.
If we're really looking at making connections, then it's not just connecting to the spectrum of counseling and wellness programs. It opens the door to connections to veteran service officers, other veteran services, housing needs, or all sorts of different programs. In addition to making connections to the federal VA for disability benefits, and not just for veteran services. So if the need is out there, we can help work with veterans to connect them to services that may or may not be veteran related.
The WDVA is an amazing opportunity for any veteran or provider. It gives you a space to learn. It gives you a space to kind of get some experience. It gives you space to really jump onto different opportunities. So if you're a veteran, if you're a transitioning veteran, if you're a provider, give the WDVA a shot. You might find something in there that might work for you, and it might open up some doors that you didn't even think were even possible.
Helping people to find that window of tolerance is so much of what's needed. And so often there's a way that veterans can shut things down rather than relate to what's going on. And that's sort of my job in terms of helping to introduce them to themselves in a lot of ways. If
a therapist in a specific region is full, for example, then we'll work with the veteran or the family member to find a counselor or a therapist that is a good fit for them.
Well, I'm contracted with the WDVA, so that means that WDVA pays me for working with the veterans. The veterans don't have to pay anything. The veterans who are in the program have an interview with me, and we go over an outcome questionnaire to kind of review what sort of things are going on for them in terms of the experiences that they're having and how they're relating to those experiences in their lives, and how their view of the world and of their life is affecting them. And so that's kind of a measurement that we use to look at in terms of the PTSD and how active it is and how a person is working with that. And so based on that, we then move forward to setting up time to work together, and the WDVA is running this whole program.
The cost is free to the veteran, and the information stays with the counselor or therapist that they work with, so that the information is confidential.
When you think about being in a war zone in that level of conflict, you don't have room for feelings. And so in a way, it's like retraining the brain in ways that the person has never had exposure to. And so one of the veterans that I was working with said, "Oh, do you know about this program? Why don't you look into that? It would be great if you could serve more veterans." And so I felt like, yeah, I would be happy to do that. And so that's really how I got here, is by suggestion of another veteran. It's never too late, is what I would say, to make a change in your life. And part of what life is about is finding your way and finding yourself and finding that right balance for yourself. And oftentimes that balance gets really thrown off by traumatic experiences that happen in life.
So show up, have a seat, see what happens. And then, hey, if it doesn't work out, you can at least say you showed up and maybe it's not a good fit or whatever the situation is. But you can't fault anyone for showing up and just want to listen to see what can happen.
And if you can keep an open mind to the possibility of change and engage in that, you'll have a much better experience in your life.